Hey, welcome to my presentation about, unfortunate spacemen. This has been a long time coming, but here I am finally, before I do my homework for the day, presenting to you, how to play unfortunate spacemen, maybe a little bit better than you know how to right now. So, let's continue. Spacemen. This is the team you're gonna be on most of the time, and, a lot of the monsters, well, all the monsters. I'm acting like there are multiple types, but there's actually not. There's only one type. Well, that's kind of a lie. We'll get to that later. Spacemen. Monsters follow some of their rules. That's what I'm trying to say here. But for the spaceman team, for the survivors, for the crewmates, they just have to do their tasks, and they have to escape. The escape is usually a shuttle that lands on one of the landing pads. Every map has 2 to 3 landing pads. Whenever the tasks are all done, or when there's one spaceman left, the shuttle arrives, and then you just get on. Then there's 30 seconds of it being open, and then it closes. And if the monster doesn't try to get you and it just leaves without any trouble, then you win. Alternatively, the monster can also be killed, and that is also considered a win condition. It might be easier, it might be harder. It's the same as Among Us, where you can either vote out the imposter or you can just time them out by doing your tasks. Anyway, there's also the traitor, which we'll get into later. I'm sure you've already, if you played Unfortunate Spacemen with us before, you already know who the traitor is. Ooh, I should mention, I'm going to be uploading this to YouTube, and if you're a YouTube viewer, I'm acting like we played this before because this was recorded for my server. Anyway, the monster can still win if the traitor's dead, but the traitor does not win if the monster's dead. The monster's kind of the anchor of the enemy team. Alright, well here you have your HUD. I added this little V here because the screenshot I took was bugged. It's not my screenshot, I just stole it from the internet. Your HUD shows you multiple things. Your HUD shows you your health. Right there, the spaceman has 82 out of 100 health. It also gets, the max HP you have gets reduced if you kill an innocent spaceman. Your HUD turns purple and you're labeled a murderer to everyone as well. This also comes with a variety of things, but we'll get into that later. Well, not a variety of things. Well, anyway. Oxygen. That's also a meter under your HP. It can be modified equipment. It decreases the longer you're outside and regenerates while you're inside. Some equipment can modify how it works, if you lose oxygen, stuff like that. Monsters have a different bar below their health, but we'll get into that later. Number 4 is camera access. You can just click 4 at any moment and you can look at the cameras of the map. They'll also start pinging. Oh, in the globe, whenever you're playing, you can see cameras from very far away through walls show a warning sign if they saw the monster. So they'll ping you if the monster was seen on them. And then you can go through the cameras and then you can look for them. M is to open the map. It just gives you an overview of the map, you know. I don't remember if there's any specifics, but I think you can just go from there. And then B is to shove people. It can be used for environmental kills as either spaceman or monster. You get a really, really cheeky monster kill if you just time your shoves right and you're 100% certain in who you're killing. Otherwise, you might blast off your friend into space, labeled a murderer, and then the monster just gets to kill someone for free, basically. There's a core mechanic to the game, and they're perks. Perks work the exact same way classes do in Among Us, for example. Except you get the pick instead of it being randomly assigned to you. There's the main perks, and then there's minor perks that work to counter the shapeshifter, or they also just work to buff yourself. Be aware that the shapeshifter also has his own set of major and minor perks. No, wait, I lied. Be aware that the shapeshifter also has its own major perks, but they share the minor perks with Spacemen. An example of a counter is antibodies. With the antibodies perk, you become immune to the colorblind virus, as well as making you immune to parasites from the monster. See, you get 2 immunities there, and also, you get some benefits if you're the shapeshifter, who has the antibodies perk. You can read these on your own, but to summarize the main roles, Doctor spawns with a medkit and does extra healing. Janitor has no weapon, spawns with no weapon, but spawns with an extinguisher. They also do tasks quicker naturally. Extinguishers can be used on spacemen to basically make them lose oxygen really quickly. It seems kind of useless, but you could technically kill someone like that as a monster outside, and it depletes the shapeshifter's meter, which we'll get into in a bit, what the meter is. The investigator, you spawn with a pocket detective, which gives you lots of clues. I'll probably do an addendum in a bit, because I don't really remember what. Well, hold on. Alright, well, according to Google, the pocket detective has the ability to identify perks that aren't visually apparent, can scan for injuries, report dead bodies that are unidentifiable, can identify what color the monster was when it sabotages, which we'll get into later. And it can identify monsters hiding in vents, it can identify the color of decapitated heads, what color last used, a health station, teleporter, see if someone is infected with a parasite, which we'll get into later as well. Can scan broken or welded doors to identify the color that broke it or the color that welded it accordingly. The downside is the investigator cannot get rid of the pocket detective, so he only has one weapon slot. With that out of the way, cultists spawn with space milk on their ability slot, I think, equipment slot. And then if you use the space milk, it teleports you somewhere completely random, but you cannot use comms for the rest of the game. You can use the inbuilt communication, the like wave, all that stuff, but you cannot physically speak or type. Soldiers can't use gear, their equipment slot is full, because they spawn with a stim pack and an assault rifle. When you use a stim pack, you just shoot faster, and you just, flat out start with an assault rifle. With the Warden, you start with a stun baton that electro-locks. Electro-locking doesn't let spacemen do anything while they're electro-locked, it's like a stun. Your keycard is also protected, we'll get into keycards in a bit. If someone tries to steal your keycard, they get electro-locked. Spacemen have multiple ways to detect a shapeshifter. They have cameras, which I mentioned earlier, that ping if they detect a shapeshifter. But be aware that cameras can be shot and disabled. The killer can just shoot a camera and it's gone. Okay, so I just looked it up, and there's a minor perk called Welder, which spawns you with a welder, of course, and you can weld doors with it, but at the same time you can also weld cameras, basically fixing them if they're shot. There's also trip mines. It's a gear that you can hold and then, put down. If a parasite-infested spaceman or a monster walks into it, it beeps and then explodes. Otherwise, it doesn't explode. So it's a good check to see if someone's a monster or not. Well, unless they're parasite-infested, but that's what being detectives for. Also, I did a little bit more research. For the investigator, they can also see footprints. Health stations are one of the most important detection systems in the game. If a monster heals up with a health system, it frowns, and it has a little animation and it has its own dialogue. Good way of confirming and deconfirming spacemen, although health syringes are maybe the best way to confirm or not deconfirm a monster. They can be carried by players, and sticking a syringe into a monster will kick them out of Disguise Sword immediately. So keep that in mind. Next up, tasks are necessary to win a Spaceman. There's research samples, which you can just seal, and then after they're fully sealed, you can grab them and take them to an ejector. You can get shoved into the ejectors. See, they look like that in the top right. Getting shoved into them instantly kills you because you get shot out in the face. Research samples can also be performed by ghosts, which is a very good way of helping your teammates post-death. Because whenever a research sample isn't sealed, it's not marked for anyone on the map, but sealed samples are marked for everyone on the map. So if your teammate doesn't know where to go, you can just seal the research sample, and if they're smart, they'll figure it out. The landing pads also have debris. You have to clean this out so the shuttle can come. But I guess it comes anyway if you're the last one alive. And then you have to activate all communication transmitters. They need to be turned on and then take a while to go online. But power outages, which we'll talk about later, and remote arms, which we'll also talk about later, and also just manual monster interference from the back can turn off communication transmitters. Next up is weapons. They can be both used by the shapeshifter and the spaceman to combat each other. Many can naturally be found in a round, but the most powerful ones are sealed and get unsealed over time, like sniper rifles, shotguns. These are power weapons and are normally more powerful than the ones found on the ground. Traders cannot pick up power weapons. Be aware of that. Security bots. Yeah, this picture on the right, this is the only security bot picture I could find. Maybe I'll get security bot footage in the game, maybe not. I don't really want to put that much effort into this. Just a small guide. If you just go into the game and do the tutorial, you'll see one. But They can be talked by the host and usually just roam and walk around the map, shooting at any enemies, shapeshifters, suspicious people, and murderers that they see. This is why you don't want to be a murderer or suspicious person. We'll talk about suspicious people later, but it's basically the same as the murder category, and they just shoot you. Also, just attacking one will cause it to attack back. It's important to note that the shapeshifter can disguise as security. If they've been found out, it's a good last resort for the monster to do, as it's always available and causes other security bots to not shoot at them. Okay, we're finally to the shapeshifter section. To win, you just gotta kill everyone, and alternatively, if the escape shuttle is present, you can break into the pilot's door. Breaking into the pilot's door is an automatic win. You'll see the space shuttle, and then there's a door on the left. You just keep meleeing that until it opens. The escape shuttle appears if all tasks are done, or if there's one spaceman standing, as I mentioned previously. Timing out the spaceman also leads to a win. You'll notice that the monster HUD has the same options as the spaceman HUD, but a lot more buttons. The oxygen is replaced with the disguise meter. You have monster health and you have disguised health, or human health here. If you run out of human health, you die instantly. If you run out of monster health, you die instantly. If you lose all your health while disguised, you die instantly. You have to shapeshift back to access your other health pool. With G, you have your disguise button. You can disguise as any spaceman, as well as your own color, because you also get assigned a color, as well as security. Your voice isn't masked, which seems obvious, but don't disguise as like my friend Alex and be like a guy and be like, hey, I'm Alex. That's gonna get you killed. Everyone in the world is gonna know you're the shapeshifter. They can recognize your voice. But anyway, you can press C to switch to your human form instantly. It'll switch to your spaceman appearance, but you can also do that with the disguise meter. With B, you can burrow into the ground. It can be used to hide. You stay in one spot, and unburrowing while someone is on top of you will kill them or do a lot of damage. Also, while you're burrowed, you can take flamethrower damage. That's a special weapon. You can press R while just being around to lay eggs. They have a cooldown and can hatch into parasites, drones, or something else depending on your perks. As you know, parasites can jump on the people and infect them. And that fucks up some other stuff like the health kits and the trip mines and stuff. So use that to your advantage if you're using that perk, which we'll go over in a second, all the perks. Now we'll talk about evolution. For monsters, perks are instead mutations. They give you different effects. I won't summarize all of them here. You're going to have to do a little bit of your own reading here. It's your assigned homework. The wiki's open, the game's open. You can just launch it and look at the perks. As matches progress, like the longer it goes on, you evolve. And also you evolve well, hold on, I might have lied. I'm pretty sure you have to kill people to be able to evolve. Or maybe you do it slowly. You have to eat people. You have to physically eat their body in order to gain more power. They trigger mutations that you select before the match starts. To give a light overview, you can become a void monster with a teleport, a monster with acid vomit and powers, an alien host that can spawn drones, which are basically like antlions from Half-Life, or a corpse lord that can reanimate the dead and the zombies, or you can just have no mutation, I guess. And, you know, spawn the parasite instead. The monster can sabotage stations present in every map that can have spacemen in it. Of course. There's power outages, which disable basically every task until it's back on. It also disables camera alerts. And as I mentioned, there's a perk that tells a certain class what color triggered it, and I'm pretty sure that when I wrote that, I was talking about the investigator. There's also, you can also just manually disable transmitters. I guess it counts as a sabotage, but you're basically just turning off that task until they turn it back on. There's comm sabotage, which turns off all chat for all spacemen except for emotes. Color blindness, which makes everyone's vision monochrome. And, you know, antibody counters it, and also accessories kind of make this kind of a shitty one, to be honest. And then there's vents. You can just travel through vents. There's a lot of vents in a map. It's basically fast travel. But, as I mentioned, the investigator can see if there's a monster in the vent or not. And it also makes noise. We really gotta talk about the remote arm. You can put down It's basically like a thing you can control the entire time. Imagine like you leave an actual physical arm. I don't think it is, but just imagine you leave a physical arm. And then anywhere on the map, you can tell that arm to like grab it and like turn it off. And that works for any sabotage. That works for... it also works for health stations. So with this, you can perform some trickery. You could be in a group of people and then do a sabotage, or you could sabotage a health station for someone else. I think it leaves like some remnant somewhere. Like it might leave like a hint for investigators to know, but I'm not sure yet. I could research that. Okay, did some double checking just now. The remote arm, I knew this, but I forgot to mention it, leaves a physical remnant there. Like it leaves a physical thing there so you can see that it's sabotaged. I think it actually straight up just looks like an arm. But yeah, you can see that on health stations to know they're sabotaged. You also don't need to pull anything to sabotage them as a shapeshifter. Just having the arm on the health station makes it like freak out. So it looks like the spaceman who just healed is a monster. Next up is a traitor. If you don't like shapeshifter, this is your next best bet at being evil. It's basically like being the imposter next to being up next to a fucking monster. Your sole purpose is to help the traitor. Your sole purpose is to let the shapeshifter win. If they die, you lose. If you die, they don't lose. You're just an accessory to the monster to win. Besides being functionally identical to the spaceman, you bring the brick device. It can hack in the machines such as vending machines. It can trigger gadgets and perks. It can do some pretty cool stuff. It can really mess with the... Here, I'll get some specifics for you. Okay, looked it up. Essentially, it's just a pure distraction. It can cause sabotages. The vending machine? Okay, well, I should explain vending machines. They're just around. You get points by doing tasks, and with points, you can buy special guns early. Well, anyway, you can make it so you can hack a vending machine, so whoever uses it next, like, gets stunned. It's that. You can lock doors. You can turn off the cameras. You can unseal samples. You can weld garbage to the fucking launch pads. You can do a lot to just slow down the spacemen. Also, they cannot pick power weapons, as I mentioned. Try not to get to a position where people want to hunt you down and they have power weapons. You are just a shapeshifter. You are just a spaceman. You just have a spaceman health pool. Next up is the gameplay loop and my closing thoughts. The tribunal is core. It is going to happen every so often, and it blocks every single task on the map. It happens 3 times, and a path, a green like light, physically shows you where to go towards the tribunal site. Whenever there's a tribunal circle, whenever you're in there, the shapeshifter's disguise meter does not go down, so everyone has equal time to debate and converse. At the end of it, you all vote for who you think the monster is. That person will be marked as a suspect, nerfing their stats, making the security bot shoot them on sight. And if the shapeshifter's original color is marked as suspicious, they are severely nerfed. They have way less health and do less damage. Dead people are marked as suspicious when found and at the tribunal. You cannot shapeshift and the color is marked as suspicious whenever you're a monster. Dead people will also be... Yeah, missing people... Well... Dead and missing people. Missing people will still be reported alive until you find them dead. And if you found someone marked dead, then they're marked suspicious. Just because the shapeshifter can't shapeshift into them anymore. All spacemen except for... Lastly, well, I mentioned that for a second. You get the suspicious person role for being marked as suspicious here, for being voted for. It doesn't kill you like in Among Us, but it nerfs your health, it nerfs your damage, and makes security bots shoot you. It's basically the same as being labeled murderer. All spacemen except for the shapeshifter in some roles spawn with a keycard. Keycards can be stolen and are used to manually unlock doors. As spacemen, you can steal other people's keycards if you want, and the shapeshifter can steal yours. I think your spaceman realizes like 10 seconds after your keycard got stolen. It gives you a little pop-up telling you that your keycard got stolen. As I mentioned, you can get points via doing tasks, and you can use those to buy weapons and vending machines. Also, as I mentioned before, fire extinguishers can strangulate, rapidly draining oxygen or disguise meter for either a spaceman or a shapeshifter. As I mentioned again, welders can be used by spacemen to weld doors together and repair cameras and broken doors. Airlocks. I haven't mentioned airlocks yet. You can see it in one of these screenshots back here. Well, okay, I'm not going all the way back. Ooh. Hold on. Well, airlocks appear and anyone can basically set them to be trapped, and then they'll flash red. And if you step next to the airlock while it's trapped, it'll just open and fling you out. Unless you have a perk. But you can do that reading on your own time. There's also drop bridges. They're basically bridges and there's buttons on both ends, or I think just one end. And you click that button, that bridge goes down, and whoever's there just dies. Closing thoughts. While Unfortunate Spacemen is somewhat of a complicated game because, you know, 40 times I've had to be like, oh, read it yourself, or I'll talk about it later. It is a game I love very dearly, and I want everyone to be able to enjoy it as much as I do. I hope this overview serves you well and helps you understand the overall fundamentals of Unfortunate Spacemen. If you don't understand something, feel free to ask me. It gets further complicated with perks, but with this basic knowledge, the only way to learn is through experience. Thank you.